This lesson is on section 12.5, circles in the coordinate plane. We've worked with equations for other shapes on the coordinate plane. We've worked with y equals mx plus b for the equation of a line. We are going to talk about the equation of a circle. It's a little bit different than the equation of a line. It's actually based on the Pythagorean theorem. The reason it's based on the Pythagorean theorem is because the most important pieces of a circle are the center and the radius. And if you look at the center and the radius, you can draw in a right triangle, and where the radius becomes the hypotenuse. So you can see that this is the equation of a circle, and I'll tell you what the coordinates mean in a minute, but you can see that it's a value squared plus another value squared equals the radius squared. And that's because the radius is your hypotenuse when you're looking at the problem in this respect. Okay, the x and y stand for all the x and y coordinates that are on the circle, so they will stay as part of the formula. H and k stand for the x and y coordinates of the center. We use h and k just to denote that those are specific to the center and not just any x and y point on the coordinate grid. So the formula is x minus h, quantity squared, plus y minus k, quantity squared, equals the radius squared. That's the standard form of the equation for a circle. It allows us to pick out those two most important pieces, the radius and the center. For example, if this is the problem that you're given, x minus 4 quantity squared plus y minus 6 quantity squared equals 49, you could easily pull out the center of the equation of the circle. The center would be at 4 and at 6. Notice it's not negative 4 and negative 6. That's because the negative is part of the formula. That stays there as part of the formula. It's whatever number's next to the negative sign that becomes your center. So if it was x plus 4 quantity squared, then it would be negative 4 because there's a negative 4 next to the negative sign. It's a little confusing, but you'll get used to it. Then to find the radius, the value on the other side of the equal sign is the radius squared. So 49 equals the radius squared. So to find the radius, you simply take the square root of 49, and the radius in this case would be 7 units. A couple of example problems that you're going to see are, first of all, can you write the equation of a circle? If I give you the center and the radius, can you write the equation in the standard form? And the standard form is written over here. So you would write x minus the x coordinate, which is 3, and that's a quantity squared, plus y minus, now it's a negative 5, so you have to incorporate the negative and the 5, so that becomes a plus 5 squared equals, and then your radius squared. If your radius is 6, you would square that, and the answer would be 36. This would be the standard form of the equation of this circle. Let's try another one. X minus, but then it's negative 2, so it becomes plus 2 squared, plus, now it's a 0. The y value is 0. So you can either write y plus 0 quantity squared, or you can simply write y squared, because the y would still be squared, but there's no extra value there. And then equals, the radius would be 4, so we would square that to put on the end, so it would be equals 16. That's how you would write the standard form of that equation. Can you go the other way? If I give you the equation, can you pull out the center and the radius and graph it? What tool would you need in order to graph it? In order to make that perfect circle, you would need to have a compass. Okay? And as far as where you would start, well, you'd pull out your two most important pieces of information. Okay? So your center in this case would be at 8, negative 2, because notice the plus sign means that that's a negative 2 that got added in there. And then the radius would be the square root of that plain number, so it would be 4. So if you were going to go to graph this, you would go out 8, and go down 2, So your center would be at 8, -2, and then your radius would be at 4. The easiest way to find that is to go vertically or horizontally 4. So you go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I would go out 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd go out this way 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'd go down 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'd use my compass. You actually only need one, but it kind of gives you an idea if you're doing it right. Use your compass, put your pointy end on the center, put your pencil end on the circle, on the first point, and simply draw your circle around. And that's how you would get your circle. Last example, the center of this one. Watch your positives and negatives. So the center would be at -4 and +1, and your radius would be at the square root of 24. Now, your square root of 24 isn't in most simplified form. You can break that down, or you can write the decimal of it. It makes no difference. Either way, it's up to you. Either simplify it down into 2 times the square root of 6, which is what it would be simplified, or actually take 2 times the square root of 6 and get 4.9. That's the end of this lesson. The homework is as follows.